Take 3. Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with top trainer Billy Nelson ahead of Martin Bakole's fight with Efe Ajagba this weekend. Billy, good to see you. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm glad you didn't say I'm Martin then, just to throw me. Look, Martin has the opportunity he was set to get before he came in to rescue the day against Joe Parker. A lot was made about that fight, but in terms of the preparations for this one, how have they gone?
Well, as good as any camp can be. On Saturday and this morning, he was exceptional in the gym. So he's peaking just at the right time, and I think he'll just go out there and do a right number on that Efe Ajagba. I think he's a different level completely from him.
Just rewinding back to that fight, of course it was a huge opportunity, but I was surprised by some of the criticisms that yourself and Martin had got off the back of taking that opportunity. It was something that I guess you must have felt was too good to have turned out the moment. Were you disappointed with some of the comments coming from taking that opportunity?
Don't give a shit about what other people think. My job is to maximise Martin's earning potential, and he got what he got for that one fight. He probably was earning 2.5 fights, so it was a no-brainer, and a guarantee of fighting on Saturday. Absolute no-brainer. So whatever anybody else thinks, whether they're in the sport or not in the sport, we don't give a shit what you think. Martin done what Martin wanted to do. Wasn't he Billy Nelson? Billy Nelson's got a duty to put that fight to him when he was offered it. Martin says yes, it never worked. We move on.
I want to get straight into specifically Eddie Hearn's comments. I'm sure you saw the tweet. It was in response to yours. I asked for Martin's response to it as well. But Eddie, in response to what you said about Eubank Jr. versus Benn, kind of dug into you.
I don't give a shit what Eddie thinks, to be quite honest. Eddie knows that. I mean, I like Eddie. I got on well with Eddie. But what did I say that was wrong in the respect? Eddie was wanting Eubank to lose even more weight in the return. Is he mad? I mean, the guy was in shocking condition at 160, and Eddie wants him to lose more weight. Come on, Eddie knows the weight stipulation for the rematch, and both boxers done exceptionally well. A credit to both families, but there was a clear winner in the fight. You can't win them all, even though you'd like to. We can't.
I'll get your take on that fight later on, but look at Ajagba. What problems, what challenges does he pose that Martin Bakole, do you feel, hasn't faced before?
Martin's faced way more than what Ajagba's going to bring to the table. Jared Anderson would beat Ajagba. Jared Anderson's a fine fighter. Ajagba's a good fighter. He's not got a particularly good jab, got a good backhand. You need a whole lot more than that when you're fighting Martin Bakole.
I don't want to make heavyweight boxing just all about strength and power. Of course, there's a lot more to it, and I said the same thing with Martin about sometimes the skill getting overlooked in the heavyweight game. But when I asked specifically to Ajagba about who has the strength in power, he felt that he had it over Martin. Do you feel that's the case?
We'll find out on Saturday night. That is way wrong. Oh, Jared Anderson said the exact same, didn't he? He says when I land on him, he says he knows what's going to happen. Didn't he? Didn't he? Listen, Joe Parker stopped Martin, but Joe Parker, and Joe's my good pal, and he'll be the first one to admit it. He hit him up here. That's an illegal shot. Do we forget about that? But under normal circumstances, Martin would have rolled under that punch all day long and landed a left hook. He came off the couch to fight Joe and help His Excellency save that particular show. And we've got this fight here to redeem myself, and then I'm sure His Excellency will get Martin a big fight after this.
You get the plan you get the win as you plan to do. I said to Martin, what shot do you want to call? But as his trainer, what shot would you like to call next for your fighter?
Would like a rematch with Joseph, just to right the wrong. We tried we tried him twice, I think, 3 times to get Hunter. Never happened. And then when he wanted it, we didn't want it because it was only 3 or 4 weeks' notice. But we're way past Hunter now. That was 7 years ago, 6 years ago. I think it was 2018 that fight, October. But it's definitely Joe Parker again, because I honestly believe Martin will stop Joe Parker with a full camp.
Yeah, on a full complete camp, you feel that that's fight completely different, or at least the challenge.
Listen, the thing is, even though it went a round and a half, Joe Parker was hurt on at least 2 occasions, against a man that really wasn't fit enough to be in the ring. And he got hurt. Now, you imagine a fully fit Martin Bakole. He was hitting him an uppercut in the body. That's all he had in him to happen. He would have turned the 2 shots into 4 and then a combination after it. You know what I mean? He'd have been hit a whole lot. Joe's sparred Martin. Joe will tell you himself how good Martin is. Full camp, let's get a rematch on. Because there's nothing else out there really, as far as I can see, for Joe. Apart from maybe Caballero. He's not tied up. Usyk and Daniel's tied up. AJ he's one to pick and choose whoever he fights. And who's the other big fight? Who's the other? Argovich is fighting Sanchez. Now, Sanchez has got a final eliminator after beating a guy that's got a record of 18-34. That is a scandal. And that big, slow boxer, Argovich, has just beat Joe Joyce, who's even slower than him. Come on. Final eliminator. Getting thrown. Since Martin was number 1 in the IBF, they've made Derek Chisora the mandatory challenger, and they've fired a final eliminator with Hrgovic and Sanchez. They weren't as active when Martin was number 1. Why not?
So this is part of it. Look, see, that's the fight you want, but do you actually feel you'll get it because the chess pieces politically and the team seem to be moving away from?
Well, why not? What else is there for Joe? His Excellency, I'm sure, could make the fight again. In the interest of fairness, we saved it back in February, so give Martin a shot back, and we could have a trilogy.
Billy, I'd like you to take on a few fights. First of all, that fight last weekend, Eubank Jr. versus Bennett, was Eubank Jr. who came the victor after a lot of worry about both fighters, to be fair. But Eubank Jr. made that weight cut quite public with some of the videos he shared. But what was your view on the fight as a whole, first of all?
Great fight. Credit to both men. Don't like hydration clauses at all. Don't even agree with the IBF £10 ruling the next day. I don't think it's acceptable. Why don't we just revert? If that's the case, why don't we just revert back to the same day weigh-in? And then you'll have guys roughly the same weight all the time. Don't agree with it any, and I don't know how it's sanctioned, to be quite honest with you. I really don't know how it's sanctioned because it's detrimental in the boxer's health. But it's only the boxers we're talking about, isn't it? Other people, promoters, have got to make money.
What about the fight in terms of how Eubank Jr. was able to negate Benn's, speed, his agility, his ability to move his head as well too? How did he overcome that task?
I think he was a wee bit dimensional, one-dimensional Conor in the early rounds. He was trying to block. Before he was throwing punches, he was putting his left hand up, and Chris quickly sussed that out by half-stepping back, leading with a right uppercut and a left hook, or a left uppercut and a right uppercut. But listen, I thought it was a fantastic fight. Conor surprised me. I don't know if it was so much Conor surprised me how well he boxed because of the way Chris Eubank must have been feeling, because he was, he looked terrible on the scales, absolutely terrible. That must have affected. But the figures don't lie. The figures don't lie. I think he threw 30 to 40% more punches than Conor. I know it's a different level altogether, but I had a boxer in Wales last week fighting a Welsh boy, and we were throwing 4 punches to his 1, and we won 8 of the 10 rounds, and they gave the Welsh boy it by a round. Absolutely shocking, abysmal. But listen, the rematch will be made. It's a massive event, and we've got so much to thank Turki Al-Sheikh for making these fights, and spectacular nights that they are. And the guys have been handsomely paid, and they will be in the rematch. So fair play to them.
Was there enough from a Conor Benn perspective to say we should take the rematch so we can close that gap and turn that defeat into a victory?
Well, if there's no weight stipulation on the second fight, no, because I think it might end up worse for him. And And if I was Eubank's manager, that wouldn't be allowed in the rematch, unless it's already in the contract. It's got to be it's got to happen again. But I don't see how that would be the case. I don't see that being the case. If Eubank's not going to go and kill himself at the weight again, or certainly can rehydrate to what in the manner that he wants to, I think he could stop Conor next time. I expect him to stop him there. But after seeing how badly it was on the scales, I changed my mind. But if he doesn't need to rehydrate, if he has to, if he can rehydrate whatever way he wants in the return, I think you've seen the physical strength at the last third of the fight taking over. But Conor's still letting the hands go. Brilliant.
What can you say, obviously, with the rehydration clause, and you have a better eye than I do at being a trainer of fighters yourself. What can you say was the difference in Eubank Jr. on the night in terms of what he was able to output? Where did it affect him in the fight? And of course, we visibly saw it because he was sucking in lots of water, both during the fight and after the fight. But what will he have actually taken out of him? What level of performance dropped in that fight from what he usually is?
I think that was 65% of Chris Eubank, to be perfectly honest, because the weight murdered him. I've only seen that a couple of times in my career. One in particular in Glasgow, and the guy was a shell of himself on the scales, and he just never recovered for the next day and get knocked out in the first round. But for him to be put through what he had to get put through and perform the way he did, throwing the volume of punches that he did, mate, my hat goes off to him. But my hat goes off to Conor as well, because he is a naturally smaller guy. Will he make 147? And he certainly won't have the power, as much power at 147, because he's got to drain himself to get down to 147. That will have an effect on him. So it swings around a bit. I'd like to, me personally, there will be a rematch, but after that, I'd like to see if Chris Eubank continues to box at 168, and I'd like to see Conor. I think he'd be very good at 154.
Daniel Dubois is taking on the rematch with Alexander Usyk. Your thoughts on if Dubois can turn that defeat into a victory?
No, he can't. No, but I think the golf's way too big. He never won a round in the first fight. He get dropped a couple of times, then he gets stopped, and all the clinging on to is the low blow, which wasn't a low blow. Listen, Daniel's improved bundle since, and he deserves a rematch because he's improved a hell of a lot. So he has. Well, when I say he's improved, he's had 3 very good wins. Miller, Hrgovic, and Anthony Joshua. What was I going to say there? But the golfing class is huge. The IQ. But what I would say is, it was a low blow because Usyk is a warrior. He's a modern day Genghis Khan. He really is. Tactically astute, physically fantastic. He's just got everything that you want in a boxer. He's got it. And the reaction with that man on the floor, he was in shock. His body was trembling. He was in shock. And he still got up and outboxed him, then stopped him. That's just a sign of an absolute champion. I just think Daniel's improved, but he's not improved enough to beat Usyk.
Lastly, I just wanted to end with the rematch for Lewis Crocker against Paddy Donovan. Any update as to the terms of that, where it's going to take place, anything at all?
It'll be in Belfast again, 100%. You can't take it anywhere else, can you? I mean, I think they can get another couple of thousand people in if they went back to that same arena, because there was more space available, other than obviously in a rematch, that space would be occupied. And I just hope if it's a cleaner fight, it'll be much better for us. But Lewis Crocker needs to perform in this rematch, because I was more so him, but we were both bitterly disappointed in his performance, and he will have to improve. Because, as I said to Paddy in the ring, I says, you box exceptionally well, discipline like you done. Because that's what it was. But I still, for the life of me, I can't fathom out how you get beat and you move from 6 to number 3 in the rankings. I've never known it. But it is what it is, and we'll take care of business, hopefully, when the fight happens end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and insights. Thank you so much for speaking to Seconds Out. All the best for the fight this weekend. Much appreciated.